Let's talk about these idiot premiers, these power-drunk lunatics who are pretending that if they keep the gate closed from those evil people who have the virus, then somehow you'll end up voting for them. We'll see what happens with Gunner in the Northern Territory. We'll see what happens in Queensland, and I'll get to that in a second. But it's like you can't come up with more inventive ways of punishing supposed threats to the community when it comes to coronavirus, that the West Australian Premier today was talking about ankle bracelets for people. Have a look.
If someone is identified as a risk, we have the legal power now to put an ankle bracelet on them, and that's what the police will look to do. Secondly, we may well have one hotel that has the people who are identified as a flight risk or a danger, that they are specially kept in.
I.e. locked inside like it's jail. Now, look, I get what the risks are here, but then let's go to our old mate Daniel Andrews, where he was caught today. James Campbell did some great writing today in the Herald Sun, along with others, that this bloke was seriously thinking about, way back in Easter, OK, so before second wave, before the hotel stuff-up, he wanted the same drones the Australian military uses in Afghanistan to have a look at people who are doing other horrible things like going fishing on the Mornington Peninsula. Have a look.
The defence says they did knock you back on a request for aerial
Apparently,
support.
yeah.
What aerial support
I cannot. I am not aware of requests. I'm not questioning that the answer was no. I'm happy to try and follow up for you. I think it related to drones. I think drones have been used in other states to try and surveil some public spaces. I'm not sure. We have. I think Victoria Police have used some of that technology.
Oh, the details. What details is he exactly across? Remember, a quarter of all people are not self-isolating. Not true. There was no ADF support when it came to hotels. Not true. And did somebody ask for drones? I'm not aware of that. I wasn't in the meeting at the time. But the A-grade fool is, of course, the one who has the most to gain, that being becoming the Queensland Premier for another locked-in 4 years, when a story was out and about a woman on the far north coast of New South Wales where there is no coronavirus, pregnant with twins. One of those twins could have died if they didn't get emergency treatment. She was denied the chance to go to Gold Coast Hospital. She had to wait 16 hours, and imagine how long those 16 hours were when one of your babies could die at any minute to eventually get the treatment that she got in Sydney. Thankfully, the kids are okay. What a heartless, disgraceful performance from Palaszczuk. Have a look.
People living in New South Wales, they have New South Wales hospitals. In Queensland, we have Queensland hospitals for our people.
Bronwyn, I honestly can't think of a more heartless and disgraceful thing. It's one thing for her to say to the boss of Qantas, I'm not bending for anyone. She's saying I'm not bending for a woman, a pregnant woman, of which one of her twins could have died.
Absolutely. And we saw what a disgrace it is. But the problem, Paul, is that Australia is full of sheep. And they are being controlled by these, particularly Labor premiers, who have got a real taste for mutton.
They love it.
And they're just lining up for the slaughterhouse. And there is no kickback that seems to be from people who are thinking what is being done. That example that we just saw there saying that Queensland hospitals are for Queenslanders. For God's sake, this is a country, a whole country. But the problems that I keep saying is that the Prime Minister has elevated these people to his equals, and they think that they can now run it like an individual country. Well, it's got to stop. So the Prime Minister has got to do some things, and it's no good saying he can't do anything. He can. He can back an action under Section 92 and say, you cannot do this. He can, in fact, say things like, well, if you don't do things that I want, there might be financial repercussions for your state. He can say that we're not going to have the superannuation guarantee charge come in. There are a list of things that he can do that will make sure that he is seen to be the head of the Commonwealth and earn that title Prime Minister. Because if we don't, this country, we are seeing the disintegration of the Federation. There is no planning for what is going to happen when the end of the handout, the welfare handouts happen. What's going to happen? What planning can people make? I had a call from a friend of mine in Melbourne yesterday, in tears. She's a person in her 70s, She is locked up in her apartment. She cannot get out. She said, I thought I could get through this. I don't know whether I can. And she's got friends who are saying the same things. There's a park that's nearby. If she goes there, it's so full of bicycles and dogs, she's already nearly been knocked over. But she can't drive 5 kilometres to go to the beach where she can actually walk.
It's insane.
It is absolutely insane. And he gets away with those press conferences because people don't get into him. I've watched it. He says absolutely nothing. And yet if you went in there with a straightforward list of questions, you could tear that bloke apart. He is such a phony bloke. And, of course, a dedicated socialist and behaving like any other dictator.